There we go.
Okay, I think we live. All right, so let's just wait for some viewers to come. All right, now I'm on YouTube seeing if it let me refresh this channel.
Yeah, you gotta make sure
Mm,
you
hmm?
put your channel on mute, the YouTube channel.
I muted the whole laptop.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, I'm on my channel. I don't see it. Oh, it says live now. Okay, so I gotta click on it. Hi, I see some viewers. All right, we got 6. We're just waiting for a few more people. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I am watching. I'm live streaming from my desktop, but I got my laptop and I got my phone, so that you all can talk to me and submit your questions. We have the chat, and we have Nahisi, who is, oh man, he has been so instrumental in helping me set this up, and I just want to thank him publicly. I've thanked him profusely privately, but I just want to thank him and acknowledge his expertise for helping me get this on without all of the background. And I bought a camera. See how much I love y'all? All right. We got to talk about a lot of things. I want to give a few people some time, but I think this is a recording, right? He see it's recording. It's recording, right?
Yeah, we live.
Okay, we live. So this will be recorded. So if anybody misses anything in the beginning, they can always go back. I want to make sure that everything is functional so I can get your questions. Nahisi. So I want to make sure I'm able to see the chat. All right, I see comments. Hello, hi from New Orleans. Hey, Pee Wee, thank you for joining us tonight. I can see some of the comments. I won't be able to see them all because I'll be running my mouth. But I want to make sure that you all can interact because I've been getting a lot of questions. I've gotten a lot of inbox messages, and it's kind of difficult for me to respond to everyone individually. So this is why I'm doing this live stream, because this is important. There's a lot of misinformation that is out there, and we have to be informed because information is power. All right. So it's your girl Ikie here. You know I love you. I really do. And I want to talk to you about Korryn Gaines. All right. It's a tragic set of circumstances, and I want to address this in the manner in which it was given to us, the public. Before the actual shooting and execution of Miss Gaines, we saw the video, which was taken several months earlier, of her in a car stop. And I want to talk about that first and foremost. And let me just put this disclaimer out. I don't give a fuck, right? This is not the first time. If you've been following me for even half a second, you know that I speak to inform. I don't speak to please. I don't speak to get agreement. I don't speak to argue. I don't speak for a debate. That's not what I'm here for. You can disagree. That's fine. That's fine. But what I'm telling you, you can only say it's wrong because you disagree. All right? And that's the definition of wrong. The true definition of wrong is only that which you disagree with. So let's start there. I want to talk about the sovereignty movement. And let me tell y'all something. I get a lot of messages from a lot of Moors that say the sovereignty movement is bullshit. And then I get a lot of messages from a lot of other Moors who stand by it with everything they got, okay? I'm going to tell you that the sovereignty movement does not work, okay? It doesn't work. And let's talk about what the sovereignty movement is, because a lot of people are confused. And it's very technical, and I'm not going to be super technical about it. I'm going to give you an overview, okay? So from my research, this started years ago, maybe around the 70s and the 80s, and it really was originally started by white supremacist groups, which is really incredible now that Black people think that it's their movement. What you should know about the sovereignty movement is that the FBI and the government, this corporation, has defined the sovereignty movement as domestic terrorists. Now, you don't have to like it. All right, you don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it. You can reject that. We're not domestic terrorists, da 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 da. That's great. The problem is that's how people view you. You don't get to control how people view you, right? You don't get to control how the government labels you, right? But you have to govern yourself accordingly once the government labels you as such, right? Okay, so The first video that we saw of Miss Gaines was her in a car. She had her 2 kids in the back seat, a 5-year-old son, and I believe her daughter's 1 or something to that effect. And you heard initially when the police officer pulled her over, she asked him for a delegation of authority, right? And the police officer was like, delegation of authority, I got my ID, right? He didn't know what a delegation of authority was. And she didn't have a copy. She didn't have a sample to show him. And she didn't explain to him what it is. And a delegation of authority really is only a piece of paper that says, I'm giving you the authority to do a certain thing, right? So he don't have a copy of a delegation of authority. He wouldn't have a copy of a delegation of authority because this government, this corporation doesn't recognize sovereign citizens. It just doesn't. It doesn't. And I've done the research. And as many people have told me, oh, somebody used this, and nobody has ever used that shit in court and it worked. And I have asked 1,000 people, send me a case. Send me one case where the court acknowledged your sovereignty and said, you don't have to abide by the laws of this country, right? Because that's basically what the sovereignty movement says. Sovereignty movement says, I am a free person, right? I'm a free entity, and I am not subjected or under the subject of your jurisdiction. That means that your laws don't apply to me, and I don't have to follow those laws. I don't have to pay taxes. I don't need a driver's license because I'm not driving in interstate commerce. This is what the sovereignty movement is. If it sounds confusing, it is. But this is what these people believe. This is what this is what. Okay, so Korryn Gaines, she told the police officer, I had plates on my car. When they stopped her, like a lot of sovereign citizens do, she had cardboard cutouts where the license plate should be. Okay, so they stopped her, and she, some handwritten stuff. I don't remember what it was. I forgot, but you could look it up. There was one on the front and one on the back. She said that they had stolen her plates or taken her plates away or something to that effect. Now, so let's stop for a second. You had plates. So at some point you were subjecting yourself to the jurisdiction of this county, state, whatever may have you, right? And then you decided that you would no longer be subjected to that. They took your plates and you was going to drive around with cardboard. Now, Korryn Gaines, when she was stopped, she said, y'all know me. Y'all not, this is not new to me. So there was already maybe some type of relationship, or they knew who she was. Okay. Let me tell you something. I have made myself a target. I have, by speaking out against white supremacy, by speaking out against racism, by speaking out against the very system that I work within. I've made myself a target, and I understand that. And you know what else I understand? That when you make yourself a target, whether you do it willingly or not, you have to govern yourself accordingly. You have to govern yourself in a way. The last thing you want to do is bring more attention to yourself, right? So you already know they watching you. You already know that they feel some kind of way about you, right? And then you couple that with the fact that they might think that you're a domestic terrorist because you're driving around with fucking cardboard on your car. Okay. Now, if you are in the mindset of a sovereign, then you get in the ticket. You saw that she didn't accept the tickets, right? I don't want those. I don't want those. The cop sort of just, oh, I'm just going to leave it right here in your car, whatever may have you, right? And so at some point she was supposed to go to court, or she didn't return to court. Now, the confusing part for me as an attorney is she did go to court. She was arrested that day, and she was released on her own recognizance. You saw that in the video when she went to the precinct afterwards to try to get copies of her documentation, right? And so it's clear to me that she knew she had to return to court, because one of the things that happens when you go to court is the most important thing is they tell you when the fuck you got to come back, okay? They tell you, and they tell you if you don't come back, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. All right, that's one of the standard warnings that they give you when you are arraigned, okay? And so I don't know if she didn't know, or if she willingly didn't go because she was asserting her right as a sovereign. All right. So then the police show up, right? and they execute her at this point, right? And there's no question about it. We can talk about, you know, the threat that she posed and all of this and that. But listen, there are 1,000 cases of police officers doing hostage negotiations that end without violence. And so they could have done a number of things that they just didn't do, because Black lives don't really fucking matter. If you really want to be honest about it, they don't fucking matter. Like, well, what the fuck did you do when she got killed? You didn't do shit. Nobody did shit, right? Except be upset. And we've gone from being concerned to being consumed, right? We've gone from being concerned about these issues to being consumed by these issues, to the point where I'll tell you, just from my personal experience being consumed with these issues, I don't even want to fucking go outside. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to be entertained. I'm upset. I'm hostile. And that's exactly what they want us to be. Because when you are in that state, oh man, this is going to be deep. When you are in a state of constant fear, anger, hostility, that lowers your vibrational frequency. Okay? That lowers your frequency, so you will be in trouble. That means you can't discern your thoughts. That means that you can't monitor your thoughts. And so you might not be able to recognize the difference between your higher self and your ego, right? Now, I heard some people say, you know, Korryn Gaines, she was a warrior, Black Power. Listen, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. I disagree. Okay, I disagree with everyone who is saying that she was courageous and she bucked the system and da 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 da. No, no, no. Getting killed by the police doesn't make you courageous. It doesn't. Any one of us can do that. They be happy to oblige. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how hard is it for you to get killed by the cops? That does not make you courageous. All right, and the fact that that happened with her 5-year-old in the room, you know, and now this kid has to grow up without his mom, without the guidance of his mother. And boys need female energy. Boys need that energy, okay? And now he doesn't have it. At least he doesn't have it maternally. And there is no substitute. I'm a mom, okay? There's no substitute for a mother's love. And he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have it. And yes, the responsibility is on the cops, but it's our responsibility too, right? It's our responsibility. It's up to us to make sure we stay safe, right? Because we can't call the cops and expect them to do what we want them to do. And then when they don't do what we want them to do, we cry foul, right? That's not how it works. When they show up, they do what the fuck they want to do. And we stand around in hopes that they don't violate our rights too badly. Come on. Okay, this was a complete disaster, and it was wholly avoidable. It was wholly avoidable. And it was avoidable. Let's just talk about the king that was in the and I use that term loosely for this brother. I don't know him personally. But there was a Black man in that house with her when those cops showed up. And he left her in that house. And I'm gonna tell you, right, that part hurt me the most as a Black woman, because one of the things that we, and I don't want to speak for all Black women, but one of the things that we as Black women struggle with is whether or not our Black men will protect us. We don't trust y'all. We don't trust y'all, and y'all don't trust us. And that hurts. That hurts. Because that man left that sister in that house with a child and a gun. And he left. And he shouldn't have left. I don't give a fuck what was going on. You either everybody leave or everybody stays. You the man. You're the man. And we need our Black men. I need our Black men to stand up and assume your position. You are the leaders. We want to surrender. I'm a powerful woman. I'm powerful in the world. But when I come home, I want to surrender. I don't want to be powerful in the house. I just want to be soft. I want a soft place to land. And I just want to be Ikie. I don't want to argue about shit. I don't even want to talk sometimes. I talk all day. We want to surrender, but we don't have the kings that we trust enough to do it. And so she couldn't surrender. She couldn't surrender to the cops. And she couldn't surrender in any other capacity because he didn't have her back. But you know, I don't hear no men talking about that. I don't hear men saying that. I hear men saying, "Oh, she was a fighter. She was a revolutionary, and she da 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 da." No, okay, because now she can only work from the spirit realm. Not that that's not powerful. Not that it's not powerful, but we're gonna get to that later. But for right now, in the immediacy of it, she's not here anymore. She's been silenced, her voice silenced, her child traumatized, you know, and I can only hope that, you know, he can recover in some way, that, you know, he can have a meaningful life. All right. I can't see the chat. He see on this for some reason. I see the thing saying that I can let y'all ask questions.
I don't have any.
Oh, hold on. This feature is disabled. Why is that? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Can you see him? Can you see this?
No, I wouldn't be able to see your chat. Let me see.
You can't. No, the chat that's on the live stream. You can't see that. Oh wait, should I be clicking the Q&A? Ask your audience to submit questions. I did. Y'all making me mad.
And nobody has asked any questions on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't see nothing on YouTube. I just want to make sure I'm not ignoring y'all. I see something. So this is available. I see a sign that says group chat. Hold on, let me see. Test. Okay, I see. I'm in there. All right, I need a couple of y'all to send some chats so I can see if the chat room is working. And if you are, and we not seeing it, I apologize profusely. Okay. It is what it is. You see anything? No, right?
Nope.
All right. Okay. I've done a number of videos on paying tickets and how tickets turn into summonses, and how summonses turn into warrants. And that's what happened in the Korryn Gaines case. If you don't appear either for a summons or you don't return to court, there is going to be a warrant issued for your arrest. I got a couple of messages on my YouTube channel from a few people who are very adamant about the sovereignty movement, and they're like, you need to listen to us. And here's what I'm going to say to you. No, the fuck I don't. Okay? You get your own lawyer. Go get another lawyer. Get a lawyer who actually believes in the bullshit that y'all are spewing. I don't. There's no 1789 case or whatever the fuck y'all pulling those maritime cases from, and true the friendship trees and all that bullshit. I am not doing that, okay? Because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It absolutely does not work. You cannot go into court of law and say you don't have jurisdiction. I mean, once you walk in, they got jurisdiction because you appeared. Okay, that's the first and foremost thing. And if you don't appear, they're gonna come get your ass. It doesn't work. And if somebody out there can convince me otherwise, I'm listening. I'm listening. But you got to show me with facts. You can't talk me. You don't talk me to death, right? That's not going to work. You actually have to show me case law where a court has said, oh, I've seen the case law where people have asserted it. I've seen a case law where people have asserted that they don't, and then I've seen the courts go, get the fuck out of here. That's what I've seen. I've seen the courts not pay any attention to that. I've been in court where I've seen some of the very long-winded sovereignty citizens get up before the court and really just waste the day, because the judges let them go on and on. They go on about how the flag has fringes, and this is not a real courtroom, and this is a maritime proceeding, and the judges sit there and go, okay, are you done? And you know what? Here's the truth. They could be dead ass right. They could be right. They could be right about the straw man and this corporation and you not being an entity and you being traded on the stock market and all that shit that they say. They could be dead ass right. But guess what? What you gonna do with that information? You're not in a place of power, right? And that's the problem. You're not in a place of power. Now, if you were gonna do, you wanted a sovereignty movement, you would have to do it sort of like the Native Americans, right? The Native Americans who actually had this government recognize their sovereignty. And you want to operate as if you don't have to have the government recognize your sovereignty, and then you want to move around and pick and choose what laws apply to you. I want to know how many of you sovereignty motherfuckers is getting welfare. How many of y'all getting food stamps? The fuck y'all talking about? You ain't supposed to be part of the system, but you getting a check. You ain't part of the system, but you got a fucking debit card. You got an EBT card. You know, that picking and choosing, I'm not for that. That's not cool. Or let's say I had this conversation when I was on Sonetta, and one of the brothers called in, and I said, well, listen, what if you get hit by a car? You sign a citizen, you go out in the street and you get hit by a car. You gonna sue? Are you going to submit yourself to the jurisdiction of the court so you could get paid? Are you gonna do that? Right? And I'm not blaming the sovereignty movement, you know, but I just want people to be informed. And if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna engage in that, then you gotta understand it's gonna be some consequences and repercussions, right? The police are gonna be like, she live where? Right. Okay, put her down. Put her on the list as a possible domestic terrorist, you know. And let me just say this really quickly, because I was impressed by the police officer who actually was talking to Korryn Gaines at the window. He was cool, he was calm, he was collected, and y'all gonna front like if you wasn't that cop, you wouldn't have been pissed off by the way she was speaking to you. Stop. And he didn't lose his cool. He didn't. If she had been with the wrong cop, he'd have just snatched her ass out the car. But he didn't. He's like, we don't want to kill you. Why are you saying that? Right? Now, let me just talk a little bit about the things that Korryn Gaines was saying. She kept saying over and over again. Oh, I just saw your comment. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna come to that. We're gonna talk about the black. First of all, Black's Law Dictionary is like fucking Webster's Dictionary. It doesn't have any authority. All it does is define shit. It doesn't have an authority. You can't say, you can't stand on it as some type of precedent. It's not. It's not a precedent. It's just a dictionary. That's like walking in the court with fucking Webster's and, you know, like, but Judge Webster's dictionary said, it's the fuck out of here. That's the one word. It doesn't help you. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. Black's Law Dictionary is a dictionary. All right. You want to look up what probable cause means? Go to Black's Law Dictionary. You want to look up what reasonable doubt is? Go to Black's Law. That's what you go to Black's Law Dictionary for. You're not going to go there and find your sovereignty rights. It's just not going to happen. Okay. We can talk about status correction all day. That's another thing that they call some of the sovereignty citizens. Other people call status correction. Let me be clear about status correction, because there are a number of different types of status correction. Some of them have nothing to do with the sovereignty movement, and some of them do. Okay, so I know that a lot of different people speak about status correction. Brother Polite speaks about a different type of status correction. But let's be clear. I believe if you go to the national website for the Moorish Society, they tell you that they're not with the sovereignty movement. They denounce it. They denounce it fully and wholly. Okay, so if you hit me up and your name is L or Bay and you're pushing the sovereignty movement, I'm looking at you crazy. I am. I'm like, what are you doing? Because the national organization is like, we don't do that. This is according to their website. Now, they're just like with any other, you know, culture or religion, and I'm not trying to mislabel anything here, but there are divisions in everything. Okay, so there are some divisions that recognize status correction in this capacity in the sovereign citizen, and there are some that just don't fuck with that at all, right? You know, they're like, no, we don't do that. We don't ascribe to that. We don't support that, anything like that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the young man who was killed after his his family had a domestic dispute. I'm sorry, his name is escaping me right now. But I reposted a video that I did from December 2015. And I reposted that video because that was a video in which a young man had been killed when his father had called the police. And I want to talk about this because this is important and I need everybody to understand this. If you have a child that has any type of mental issue that might cause a disturbance in your house. And when I say disturbance, I mean whatever that encompasses, right? Disturbance, period. There are certain things that you need to do to prepare, right? You have to be prepared for the possibility that that disturbance might come one day, right? Because you know that you are dealing with a child who is struggling in some way, right? Okay, so you know, we say, and this is what frustrates me about our people, is we talk that shit, we talk it, but we don't walk it. We don't walk it. That it takes a village. Okay, then you know what? Then it's time for us to start walking that it takes a village. And if you have a child that you have difficulty controlling with, then it's time for you to call on your village. And that has to include your neighbors. Remember when you used to know your neighbors? Remember when you actually knew the people that live next door? You could go get a cup of sugar and shit. Now you don't even know them or their kids. You don't speak, right? This is part of the breakdown in our communities. Because it used to be that we struggled together, right? I remember when it was, I grew up in South Jamaica, Queens, 40 projects. You couldn't cut class because there was a Miss Grant in the window and Miss Edwards in the window. Rest in peace to these queens who nurtured us when we was coming up, who kept an eye on us. And we knew if they saw us doing anything, not only would they get our ass, then they take us home and we get it again. And we don't have that anymore. We got elders and adults who are afraid to speak to kids, and we see why. You see why with the brother who went in Brooklyn to retrieve the hat from his son, from the guy who stole it from his son, and put a bullet in his head, right? So we are afraid of each other. We are afraid of each other. And so we are afraid to talk to other people's children. That's a problem, fam. How are we going to be a village if we can't talk to each other? How? And I'm not one of I grew up in the 70s. It's a different thing for me, right? So when I see a kid sagging in court, I'm like, yo, come here. I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm not, you know, that's not the goal. You got to understand how to approach people. I pull them to the side, you know, and then I'll try to make them laugh. And I'm like, so what's up with those underwear, right? I don't want to see them. And that's all I say. And you know what? They pull up the pants. Just say something, right? So we've gotten to this point where we don't say anything to our children and they are running amok. So back to if you have an issue with your child or someone living in your home, it could be your husband, it could be your brother, it could be a nephew that you're taking care of because your sister's on crack. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is, be prepared that it might blow up, right? So enlist the help of the people that you can. That's uncles, the men that are in your circle, and you gotta have some men, and you gotta call on them, and they gotta be responsible, right? Because a lot of times men don't answer the call because we don't call. Come on, ladies, y'all know y'all don't call. You know why you don't call? Because you don't want to be rejected. You don't want them to say no. But you know what? You gotta make the call. And if that person says no, make another call. Keep making calls until somebody says yes. And all you got to do is be like, I need you to be on standby just in case shit gets real, right? Be on standby. So if I make that call, I need you to get over here. All right. You got to have something in place. I'm going to say this for the ladies. My son is 6'3". I take Krav Maga classes, right? Self-defense classes, because I'm going to fuck him up if he get out of line. And I'm dead ass serious. And he knows this. He knows it. He might, you know, he might couch it in the, you know, my mom's ain't wrapped too tight. Whatever you need to think about me. Understand that I brought you in this motherfucker. I will take you out. Right? And so thinking about that, right? I don't think that cops should respond to domestic disputes at all. Personally, I think that there should be a separate entity, unit, or something that handles domestic calls or domestic responses, something to that effect. I don't think police officers should be responding to traffic offenses. Police officers should be dealing with crime, like real crime, and let traffic cops deal with traffic issues, right? That's what we need. We need some division, because when they say the police are doing too much, we asking too much of the police, is true. They're not trained for that. They are not equipped for that. They could barely elicit a confession without it being false. They damn sure can't come to your house and defuse the situation. And so you please keep that in mind when you pick up that phone to call the cops on your kid. What you doing when you call the cops, make sure you understand that when they show up, they might kill them. Understand that, accept that, because that's what you're doing. That's the reality we're dealing with right now. I don't care what you say. And if you say, well, he was going to kill me, well, then you should fucking kill him. Okay? Because if he's going to kill you, it's self-defense, right? But you can't say he was going to kill me, so I called the cops and the cops killed him. You won't have no recourse, because the cops are going to come and say, but you said he was dangerous. And so we went with that. And then what? Then you have nothing to say. You're planning a funeral. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for nobody, right? So we got to figure out, we got to have things in plan and in place, so when these things happen, we don't have to rely on the government, because all the time I hear, we're not going to rely on the government. We can't rely on the white man. We can't da-da-da-da. And then something happens in your fucking house, and the first thing you do is 911. Well, I don't understand that. Call your father. Call your cousin. Call your brother. Oh, you got beef with the nigga up the block. You ain't calling the cops, right? That's when you get on the phone, you be like, yo, this nigga tripping. Yeah, we all that. Come through, right? Come on, y'all know I'm not lying. Am I telling the truth? Because when you got beef with, with the chicks up the block or some chick at your job, you ain't gonna be like, I'm calling the police, right? A lot of people are not doing that. But when it comes to your family, you don't have that same patience and discipline, or you don't have the same approach. You want to call the cops. And then, when they come, it's not good. Maybe I'm moving too much. I see my camera going blurry. It's a new camera. I didn't get the expensive one either, so whatever. Whatever. All right. What else I want to talk about? Right, because I know, just to go back on the domestic violence, I know that video, when I shot it in December, I was hot, and I know it's a lot of cursing in it. When I watched it again yesterday. I was like, oh, I was cringing. I'm saying to the person on the back, why she gotta curse so much? So when I'm in the moment, I was very reactionary, which I try to tell people don't be. I try to be that way. That's why it took me so long to talk about this Korryn case, the Korryn Gaines case, because I didn't want to be reactionary. I wanted to give a measured response about how I feel about this case. And so no, I don't think she caused her own death. Obviously, I think that is wholly the responsibility of the police. I do think, though, that she escalated the situation, and she didn't help it any. And so, I send her sister light and love. I hope that she had a wonderful transition, and I pray that she rises in power, and that she don't have to come back here no more. I want to talk just a little bit about our energy. Because a lot of people, you talk about, how the establishment and how, they hate us, how they hate Black people, and they don't hate us. They are afraid of us. And you know what? They know why they're afraid of us, and you don't. And this would be the video that would get me killed, because I'm about to tell you why they are afraid of you. Because you have powers. You have very unique spiritual gifts that were taken from you when they brought you over here. They have always known They have always known of your ability to connect to other dimensions, to other existences, and to the universe. Your ability to connect with your very own ancestors. That was what kept us strong when we were over there under the slavery of the Arabs, before we came here and were slaves under the Europeans, right? We had a culture and it wasn't the Bible. I'm sorry. This is not to attack Christianity. Trust me when I tell you, this is not, I done been everything. I've been everything. I grew up 5%. I was Queen Ikie, Infinite Wisdom Earth. I knowledge 120. And I wasn't full because 120 is not, it's not a complete circle, right? I'm not bashing the nation of gods and earths either. Peace to the gods and earths. I love y'all, right? That's my foundation, right? And if you know anything about a foundation, if it's not strong, that house will collapse, right? It will collapse. When I got saved in church, I married a Muslim. I think I got all the bases covered. And I still didn't know who I was until I put all of that down. And I sat down and I got quiet. And I was able to connect with our ancestors. And a lot of you, if you notice on my Facebook page, I tell you, I'm a spirit medium. I've done readings for some people here and there. That's not, I don't do that primarily. I do that on the side because I don't want to exhaust my gifts. But it's not something that is unique to me. It's something that we all have the ability to do. Now, once you understand who you are and that you have this ability, and I know that y'all all shaking your head going, she crazy, but that's okay because this is what you don't know about yourself. You don't know that you have the power to manifest things. You don't know that you have the power to translate what you think, your thoughts, into physicality in this third dimension. You don't know that. You don't know that. Now, here's why so much is going on that's keeping you distracted. These police shootings and all that is bullshit. I'm not saying that people aren't actually getting killed. This is not a false flag situation. But what these situations are doing is keeping you in a constant state, you and me. Because like I said before, we've gone from concerned to consumed. It's keeping us in a constant state of fear, anxiety, panic, anger, right? And you can't connect with anyone. You can't connect with anyone. You can't manifest anything. You can't control your thoughts when you are in that state because it is a lower frequency. All right. You have to surrender that. And it's difficult when you're being bombarded with it every day. Every day you turn on a newspaper, you turn on your computer, or you go on Facebook, or you go anywhere you go, it's a new shooting. It's another shooting. Or it's a video from a shooting that happened a year ago. Or it's a statement from a prosecutor that says, we're going to keep all these Black juveniles that have life without parole. We're gonna keep them sentenced to life without parole because they just have no redeeming qualities. A Black prosecutor said that, right? And you hear all these things and you internalize all these things, and then you angry, right? Because we are angry. Of course we're angry by the way we're being treated. And listen, there are a lot of people, and I'd say to the white people, if you didn't watch that Jane Elliott video when she said to you, white people, stand up if you wish to be treated the way Black people are treated in this country, stand up. And if you are not a white person that is going to stand up, then sit the fuck down, right? Real talk. Because, and the truth is, first of all, let me just say this. If I'm sitting in the audience and somebody goes, if you would like to be treated the way we treat Black people in this society, stand up. I'm not standing the fuck up. I don't want to be treated like this. I don't want to be treated like a second-class citizen, second guess for everything I do, thought to be less than, thought to be not as smart, sexual object, objectified. I'm not beautiful. Everything about me is ugly until you try to appropriate it, right? And that's on us. That's on us. We've accepted it. We got fucking rappers rapping about them sexy Kylie Jenner lips. Nigga, those is my lips. What the fuck are you talking about? That bitch, that's not, those ain't her lips. We've been vilified for our lips for how long? And now, come on, right? You gotta understand that it's not fear. It's not fear. They know who you are. They know how powerful you are. You don't. You keep giving your power away. You give it away because you think that that power is outside of you. It's not outside of you. It's not. It's not. And nobody's gonna come from the sky and save you. Because let me see how long y'all been waiting for that. I don't know, 300, 400, 500 years. That's listen, the definition of insanity, right? Let's go there, is to continue doing the same fucking thing and expecting a different result. I'm not going to be waiting for Jesus, right? Because everything is inside of me. I have to tap that, right? And I can't do that if I allow all these external things, all these external forces, these police shootings and in the marches and the protests and the civil rights that and everything that's going on, the election bullshit. Don't even get me started on the election bullshit. It might not even be an election, but that's a whole nother video. You know, all of those things keep you from being able to focus on love, right? Because let me just tell you about how you raise your vibrational frequency. Love. It's the highest frequency. It's the highest level of understanding. And if you don't move in that frequency, then you can't access the power you have. You can't. You can't. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you about all the things that I have done, or the healings I've given, and I'm not Dr. Sadie. We ain't going there. But each of us have divine powers. We do. You just got to tap into them, and you can't tap into them when you bombard it with all of this bullshit, right? You really got to do that. So, one of my Facebook friends, Al-Shabazz, he posts some really powerful words. And I follow the brother, and he had a post up about disciplining yourself to do something every day, right? And I wanna encourage you and challenge you to do something spiritual every day. And if that just means taking 5 minutes before you leave your house to meditate. Some of you don't know how to meditate. You don't know how to, you don't know about meditation, you don't know what it could do for you, but you've shut it off. It's the same thing as prayer. It's very similar to prayer, right? It's very similar. It's about energy. And when you meditate and you get to quiet your mind, what you want to do is quiet your ego. Some of you don't even have the ability to discern when your ego is talking. You know how they show you the little two people on your shoulder, you got the devil and the, right? That's your higher self and your lower self. That's your higher self and your ego, right? And the ego is the devil. The ego is always the one sending you negative information, right? The ego is the one saying, you know, you can't do that shit. Don't do that. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, right? That's your ego. And when you meditate, you have an ability to quiet. You develop. I'm saying, you know, it takes time. Develop an ability to quiet your ego. Talk right to him. Shut the fuck up. My ego is a man. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And we have battles, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Because sometimes he screams louder than my higher self, right? And you have to have the ability to discern the voices in your head. And go ahead. If one of you say, I don't have no voices in your head, then you crazy. You crazy. I'm not the crazy one, because I acknowledge that there are voices in my head. You are the one who is pretending that you won't walk around talking to yourself. Never. I talk to myself. Some of those are the best conversations ever. But I need you to be aware of what's happening on a global scale, right? This is what's happening in our country. Is a microcosm of what's happening all over the world, right? And we live in this little bubble, right? And we think that the things that happen outside of the United States can't happen inside of the United States, right? Everything that is going on right now is designed to keep you in a state of fear. Everything. Terrorism, police shooting, the election, Donald Trump. Everything. Keep you in a constant state of fear, right? Think about how they show the police shootings on the news, right? Let's go back. Remember when the white news reporter got shot? Remember that false flag bullshit? Remember that? Right. So they didn't show the shooting because it was too disturbing. It's too disturbing in America for us to see a white person shot. They did the same thing when the cop shot a white kid. It was all sort of, we can't show you this part. And then there was Laquan McDonald and every other police shooting that they ran on a continuous fucking loop on every news outlet until you were nauseous from seeing it over and over and over again. And that conditioning and that programming so that you would be desensitized to the killing of Black people. And to the point where now when we see it, we just like another one that's fucked up. But what you gonna do about it? So let me just talk a little, what time is it? All right, so this last little bit, I want to talk about this war that we fight. I hear a lot of people talking about we having a war. This is a war. We are. It is a war. It's a war. But y'all got it fucked up. This is not a physical war. It's a spiritual war. That's why I took the time to talk to you about who you are spiritually, right? Because we can't fight a physical war. It's not enough of us. We don't have enough guns. We don't have enough ammunition. We don't have enough organization. We don't have enough love. We don't have enough unity. We don't have enough trust. We've got infighting in the groups that are supposed to be moving us forward, right? You got the conscious community, half of them fighting with the other half of them, right? You got the Hotep dudes fighting with the other, the RGB motherfuckers. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's how are we supposed to engage in any physical war with anyone? We outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. You do know that it's only in the United States. We only represent somewhere around 13% of the population, right? Yeah. That means that it's a lot of other people. There are a lot more of them than us. We don't have no militaries, right? I don't give a fuck how many guns you got in your house. That's not gonna do it. We can't win a physical war. That's nonsensical. So for all of y'all that are champion, you must say champion in me. I'm getting tired. That are, throwing up your fist for Korryn Gaines, calling her a warrior, and this is a war. We at war. We fighting a battle. She lost. She lost, right? So she lost. We don't want to lose the war, but we keep losing all these little battles along the way, and that's because we're not fighting them properly. We can't fight the physical war, and you know what? They know that. And marching is not going to fix it. Marching is not going to help it. And I'm not telling y'all not to march. I marched in solidarity with 100 sisters in Yonkers. It was a beautiful thing. Had my niece there. It was an experience that she and I and her mom will never forget, right? And it was great. It was great because she felt purposeful. She felt like she was lending her voice to a movement, that she added something of value. And I get that. I get that. But at the end of the day, when you finish marching, you better go home and you better meditate. You better go home and you better get in touch with your ancestors. Here's what I want to tell you. You all have been here many times before. All the questions that you have, you already know the answers to. You have to unlock them. And the best way for you to unlock them is to meditate. It's to get quiet. I promise you, every question you have is already contained in your DNA. The answers. You carry with you all the memories of every life you've ever had. You just got to remember, right? Because that's really ultimately what we came back here to do, to remember. That's it. And that is the hardest thing for us to do because we are constantly bombarded with so many outside distractions that are keeping us from being able to access our power. Now, I want to talk really briefly. I've got 10 minutes. I want to talk about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. All right, well, we're not really going to talk about sex like that. I want to talk about the power of sex. I want to talk about orgasms. And I think some sisters I shared this post. Some sisters were doing a video. I think they did a live setting on, are you having sex with purpose? Which leads me to this segment that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so I need you to understand that when you are engaging in sex, and I want to say sex, when you're engaging in sexual activity, whether you're by yourself or with another person, it is an exchange of energy, right? You are releasing energy and you are receiving energy. Now, a lot of y'all out here just having sex with no intention behind it. And so you are losing a very valuable opportunity, right? So here's what I would like for you to do. In addition to taking a day, taking some time out of every day, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, to heal yourself spiritually, to deal with your spiritual self, right? Because, you know, I'm a gym rat. I can go to the gym and be in the gym 2-3 hours. And sometimes I'm just like, damn, I ain't meditate today. I didn't nourish my spiritual self, right? So in addition to doing that, nourishing your spiritual self, your mental self, your emotional self, and your physical self, I want you to have sex with purpose. I mean, okay, so what you talking about, Ikie? What you mean? He was cute. All right, listen, that's not what I mean. When you are engaging in sex, I want you to manifest something as a result of that sex. Okay? Manifest something, whatever it is. You have to have the intention to have something come to fruition. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about having sex with purpose, right? Because when you have an orgasm, and I'm sorry if some of you don't. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me say so. All right, but when you have an orgasm, you are opening a portal. You open portals, you have access to other dimension, and you can affect this dimension, right? So in that energy exchange, if you intend something, it will manifest. That's having sex with purpose, right? Now, you can't have sex with purpose with everybody. And guess what? If you can't have sex with purpose with that person, you shouldn't be having sex with them, right? Because that's purposeless sex. And one, it ain't even going to be good, right? It's just going to be mechanical, right? And you really need to understand your power in the sexual arena. Women, you need to understand your power in the sexual arena. You need to understand that when you allow a man to enter you, that he is implanting on you his energy. He is implanting on you his soul, his experiences, all of that. And you taking that in, you take it in, right? And you carry it and it affects you. You might not even be aware of how it affects you, but it does. So you really do have to, you have to have sex with purpose. Okay. And I know that, you know, coming from the lawyer, and you didn't expect that this was going to be about, but I did say we're going to talk about Korryn Gaines and some other shit. All right. So this is the other shit that we're talking about. All right. Now, did I miss anything? Because it is 9:54, and I think we said we were going to stop at 10.
Yeah, I got 2.
What about those? Okay, wait. I'm a Hebrew brother, and I do respect what you're saying about the men being present no matter what. It's a sad situation because the son is alone. What can we do as men, in your opinion, to correct some of the problems like this because the situations are going to get worse? That's a great question. You know, I think that we all, and it's not just men and women, we have to surrender. We have to surrender. We have to give up our desire to be right. Let me just say that again. We got to give up our desire, our need. It's not even a desire, it's a need to be right, right? You got to let that go. We have to listen to each other more. And what's the brother, Mr. Damon? When I say listening, I'm not just talking about, I heard you. That's not listening. I'm talking about active listening, right? Because there's a lot of listening that people do, but it's not the right type of listening, right? If you are listening to someone and you have a question after they speak, you were listening, right? That's active listening. When you actively listen, you are listening to understand what the person is trying to convey. But the problem is too many of us listen to respond, right? You be listening, you just can't wait till this motherfucker stop because you ready. I know what I'm gonna say to that. I know what I'm gonna say to that, right? That's not actively listening, right? You're not listening. You are preparing to respond. That's a difference because you're not trying to understand where that person is coming from, right? And that's a lot of problems with our relationships between men and women. And yeah, okay, let me just disclose. Yeah, I'm single, but I've been married. I'm divorced. I was married for 10 years. I don't have a clock ticking. I'm not looking for a husband, and I got kids, right? So I don't have the you know what a lot of other single women have going on is they got this whole immediacy to have a kid because now they're hitting 30, 35, and 40. And so they might have some problems with their expectations, right? And one of the things I always say is that we have to manage our expectations. You know, we have these very warped concepts about what love is. And Damon, that's part of the problem, right? Love is freedom. But all too often, when we love someone, what's the first thing we want to do is lock them down, right? That's the opposite of love. That's not love, that's fear. That's fear. You want to lock them down because when you're afraid they're gonna find out you ain't shit and find somebody better, right? So you operating out of fear. That's not love. That's not love. Love is freedom. Love is the ability to give to a person what they need so they can be their best self. That's love. And it's also the ability for you to accept what they give you so you can be your best self, whatever that is, whoever you are, which you got to figure out. You know what I mean? So I think that, you know, for us, we need to redefine what relationships look like. We need to redefine what love is. We need to redefine that. We need to make sure that Black women understand that you need a man. I don't give a fuck what you say about you not needing a man. I don't care how many 6, 7 figures you got. I don't care, you know, and I take issue with sisters like Shonda Rhimes who says shit like that. I don't need a man. Yeah, you kind of do. You know, you need a man. You need a man. You know why? Because you need balance. You need balance, right? You have feminine energy and you have some male energy. We all have some of both, right? But to be really balanced, you need to have the opposite energy. And so you do need a man, okay? And you need him for more than just sex and opening portals, okay? And I'm, you know, they talk about gender roles and things like that. Listen, the women's rights movement, that was not fucking movement. Black women, that's not your movement. Stop following Gloria Steinem, whatever. Fuck her. That's not our movement. Okay? We need our men. We love them. Okay? We need them. Brothers, we need you. We need you. I promise you we need you. I don't care what they say. If you hear a sister say, I don't need a man, that sister is in pain. Right? That's all. And sometimes when we speak from a place of pain, that's all we speak. We speak the pain. We don't speak our truth. We speak our pain. And all too often, we don't understand or recognize what is the source of that pain. And we're not willing to pick up the mirror and say, it's you. It's easier for me to say, it's you. It's you. I'm pointing. It's easier to say that, right? Because then we don't have no responsibility. And then, and so that's part of the problem is we got to accept that it's us, right? So if you have an issue with your woman, it's not her, it's you, right? And then you go, well, she. Stop starting your sentences with pronouns that don't involve I. It should be I, 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 I. And then you got to understand that there comes a time where if a relationship, and this is all relationships are designed to help you grow, if a relationship is not helping you grow, then go. Why are you still there? What are you doing? Are you trying to make somebody be something that they're not? Right? Because people show you who they are. And you don't believe that. I can't believe he did that. He did that. He slept with your sister. He did that. That was a character flaw. That's who he is, right? But you don't understand how you forgave him and he cheated again. That's on you. That's not on him. That's not on him, right? And that's part of the problem when we deal with relationships is that we don't look at ourselves first. And anytime I counsel any woman, anytime, and it happens a lot, they call me Ikie, he. And the first thing I do is I say, well, what about you? Let's talk about you. And at the end of that conversation, we haven't talked about him at all. We've only talked about you, because you teach people how to treat you. And if you want a relationship with someone who is mistreating you, you taught him that he could. Challenge me on that. You taught him that he could. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a single woman, right? I meet a guy, mistreat me. You won't get a second chance? Treat me a little to the side. You won't get a second chance? I'm not giving you a second chance. I already see who you are, right? And I've had men mistreat me and then realize they fucked up and then want to come back and profusely apologize for mistreating me and want another chance. Guess what? I ain't got no more chances. I'm fresh out. I'm fresh out of chances. Oh, let me check my pocket. Oh shit, I don't got no more chances in there, nigga. See what I'm saying? Right? So you have to listen. I know you get lonely. I get so lonely. I know. Trust me. I get it. I know. I understand. Okay. All right. Get a fucking hobby. Okay. Or understand that every man is not to be around forever. Right? I'm sorry that this is not, to bash any men, but, everybody has a purpose. Right? And or that saying there's a memo, everybody has a season or whatever, but that's true. Okay, so let me just tell y'all real quick what's going on with my dogs. I got 2 dogs. The black one has a little rash. He's going to the groomer tomorrow, he'll be fine. But the white one, he keep barking like, y'all see this motherfucker got a rash? And I'm like, yo, chill, we see. I tried to, but he barking incessantly, so I apologize if you hear him barking in the background. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up. I don't see any more questions. What makes anyone, Ikie, what makes anyone a legal person? You were born. That makes you a person. I'm seeing a lot of spirits. I don't know who's sending me energy right now. I love you. I appreciate you. But I can't tap into that dimension right this second. But I always acknowledge that the spirits are around me, because they always are, and they're always around you too. Okay. I think we covered a good amount of stuff. I hope we did. If I haven't, I'm going to try to set it up so that I can do this maybe once a week for an hour. I'll have some kind of way where you could either, I don't know, Nikki's going to help me.
Yeah, we just
you see me doing my best damsel in distress. Help me, I can't.
we just get in the chat.
Say that one more time. I didn't get it.
You just gotta get the chat room going. The chat room is going.
I'm about to fuck this dog up. Don't nobody call the ASPCA on me, please. All right. He's probably mad because he can't come in because I closed the door to my office so he couldn't get in here. So he's upset. I want to thank everybody who tuned in today. I hope that this shed some light on it. I hope that we don't have a repeat incident of Korryn Gaines. It's up to us, and it's incumbent upon us to survive the encounter. I've said that from the very first video I've ever done. I've always told you that the goal is always to survive an encounter. I am not suggesting you kowtow or be over obsequious. I am not suggesting that. I am suggesting you live. And that's it. Because you can't fight any battle. You can't fight any battle from your grave. Unless you're doing it on the spiritual side, we gonna deal with that later. Because y'all not ready for that. You're not ready yet. So y'all need to stay alive in this dimension so that you can affect change. Okay. So remember, let's nourish ourselves spiritually. Don't allow the things that are happening globally and in our country to keep you in a state of fear and panic, because that is going to affect your vibrational frequency. Please, 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 if you are driving, make sure that your vehicle is registered and properly insured and that you have a driver's license. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. I'm an attorney. I am telling you, it is illegal to drive without a license. Okay? So if you want to take your chances, go ahead. Go ahead. Because, I would tell you, like I always say, I don't give a fuck what you do at the end of the day. Right? I'm not here to convince you of shit. I'm only here to inform you. And at the end of the day, you got to govern yourself accordingly. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. Thank you, Nahisi. I appreciate you for hanging in there with me. Thank all of you for tuning in. Again, inbox me or shoot me a message on the video that'll be on YouTube. There'll be, I guess, there's a comment section on YouTube. You can let me know what I didn't cover, and I bet you a bunch of y'all gonna be pissed off about me, but let me just say y'all one more time. I don't give a fuck. Okay. All right. Ikie Speaks. I love you. I really do. Govern yourself accordingly, fam. All right. We out.